Hey folks, Ted from Nerd Immersion here, and I didn't think I'd be making any Tasha's Cauldron of Everything / errata updates till after the book came out, but lo and behold, the D&D team released the Sage Advice Compendium update today, or I guess yesterday on the 10th of November, and it provides errata for 2 books, Sword Coast Guide to Everything, Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide, and Eberron Rising from the Last War. If you're clever and you look into it, this can basically be how you can get access to some of the adjustments and changes that are coming in Tasha's Cauldron before they come out. For example, the Bladesinger updates contained in Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. So if we go over here and look, I can click the Sage Advice Compendium right here. It will take me to this page. They finally updated this. I started recording earlier, but this used to actually link you to the 2017 errata, so it didn't actually take you where you needed to go. But if we click this, we can see what's been changed for Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. A little bit of text here back in the earlier chapters, but down here is the most important changes to Bladesinger's Blade Song. And it states, the sentences after the bulleted list now read, you can use this feature a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses of it when you finish a long rest. It previously, Blade Song used to come back, it was twice per short rest. It is now proficiency bonus times per long rest. So depending on who you are and how you play your game, this might be a nerf. In theory, you're starting with basically what you would have, just you don't get it back on a short rest. And I think once you start to reach higher levels and your proficiency bonus goes up, this is actually more of a boon, of a buff than an actual nerf, because of the ability here, extra attack. Normally it says what it typically says for extra attack. Whenever you can make 2 attacks when you take the attack action, it now states that, but additionally, moreover, you can cast one of your cantrips in place of one of those attacks. This is an unheard of thing because we can still cast a cantrip, make a regular attack with our second attack, and still have access to our bonus action to do what we want. So that gives you a lot of freedom, and depending on what cantrips you do, you can get into a lot of shenanigans where you do something first and maybe, and it doesn't specify a damaging cantrip either, so you could maybe use Mage Hand or Minor Illusion or something to do something funky to then set you up to make an attack for the second one. We talked about in my top 10 video, Sapping Sting, right, the new cantrip. From Explorer's Guide to Wildmount, that if you hit someone and they fail, they get knocked prone. That could then mean your secondary attack is made with advantage. So I think it's a boon overall. And then you can see right here the alterations to Booming Blade, Green Flame Blade, Lightning Lure, and Sword Burst. They say there's a lot of changes, but I'll basically describe them to you relatively quickly. The range of these used to be 5 feet. They have now been adjusted to 5-foot radius. This has bothered a lot of folks, and I can understand why. When things have a stated range, that can be doubled by things like, I think it's Spell Sniper, which doubles the range of any spell. So if it was originally 5 feet, you could double that range to 10 feet, allowing you to use it with, say, a whip or a glaive or something like that. They also changed the material component to be a weapon worth at least 1 silver piece, as opposed to just a melee weapon. And they changed this kind of first text that says you brandish the weapon used in the spell's casting and make a melee attack with it against 1 creature within 5 feet of you. It just kind of is an update to the flavor rather than like you'll attack a creature within range. And then pretty much everything after it, all this text, this is pretty much all the same. And they changed this last wording to make it a little clearer, right? Both damage rolls increased by a d8 at 11. It says 2d8 and 3d8, 3d8 and 4d8. Same thing with Green Flame Blade, the adjustment to the self, and then it says it's 2d8 and 2d8, 3d8 and 3d8 to kind of give you, spell it out basically more for you. And then it says here Lightning Lure was changed to then be self 15-foot radius as opposed to just being a 15-foot range, so you could double Lightning Lure out to 30 feet. And then Sword Burst, also again a 5-foot radius, when in previous it was just 5 feet, so you could double that to a 10-foot radius. So that is the adjustments there for Sword Coast Adventurer's Guide. Then we have also, if we go back, we have Eberron, from Rising from the Last War errata. Now the thing with this is we have never received Eberron Rising from the Last War errata, so you won't see new highlighting anything. It will just basically, this is the whole document itself is new. So if I go here and we go to D&D Beyond and we head over to Eberron Rising from the Last War, we can do a quick comparison to see how we're looking. Because I thought it was just going to be Artificer changes, the stuff we would have seen in Tasha's Cauldron, but there's also some adjustments here to the various other races and things. So it says Changeling Traits. It says 1 ability score of your choice to 1 other ability score of your choice. This bums a lot of people out because it was in theory a way you could add +3 to Charisma. And that was originally, I thought, by design. They seem to have changed their thoughts on that. And then if we talk a little bit, it says page 18 or page 32, half orcs and dragon marks. If we go ahead and look here, it seems that we've changed a little bit. It says, let's see. Half orcs and dragon marks backgrounds, dragon mark quirks. I don't actually have page numbers here because it doesn't state it. But it says in the first sentence, half orcs has been changed to half orcs and humans. In the second sentence, both orcs and humans have been changed to orcs. And in the third sentence, third result, dragon marks has been changed to dragon marks. Or dragon marked, rather. So, okay, and if we keep scrolling down here, it says Warforged Traits. All right, let's go back and look at our Warforged. Where are they here? And it says we changed to Don Armor from Integrated Protection, which it used to say. I hope D&D Beyond, it doesn't look like it's been updated just yet. It says you can only don armor with which you have proficiency. To don armor, you must incorporate it into your body over the course of an hour. It now states to don armor other than a shield while you live. Okay, so it just alters that a little bit. So if we check Mark of Detection Half Elf, for instance, it says your wisdom increases by 2 and another ability score increases by 1. In magical detection, it states here, intelligence is your spellcasting ability for these spells. It's actually supposed to be wisdom, which means it synergizes better with the race overall. So that is a small change there. Second sentence of okay, and then it says, okay, now we're moving on to the Artificer, which is the changes we really wanted to look at. So if we jump up to the top, we'll go to that. I don't like how it doesn't really spell it out for you. It just like lists page numbers. It would be nice if they broke it up into sections. So it says Magical Tinkering, which is right here. In the first paragraph, Tinker's Tools or Other Artisans' Tools has been changed to Thieves' Tools or Artisans' Tools. It says Magical Tinkering, you must use Tinker's Tools or one other Artisan's Tool in hands. It is now Thieves' Tools or Artisan's Tools. For tools required here, the following text has been added to the end of the second sentence, meaning the spell has an M component when you cast it. Wait, what? Added to the end of the second sentence. You must have a spellcasting focus, specifically Thieves' Tools or some kind of Artisan's Tools in hand when you cast any spell with this spellcasting feature. Meaning the spell has an M component when you cast it. Okay, infusing an item. Scroll down. The following text has been added in the third paragraph. If an infusion... added after the third paragraph. If an infusion ends on an item that contains other things, like a bag of holding, its contents harmlessly appear on the ground. Okay, right tool for the job. With Tinker's Tools has been changed to Thieves' Tools or Artisan's Tools. Okay, we'll move on to Eldritch Cannon for the Artillerist here. So we gotta actually, here we are, Artillerist. In the second paragraph, in the first sentence, the following text has been changed until you expend a spell slot of first level or higher, or until you expend a spell slot to create one. Once you create a cannon, you cannot do so again until you finish a long rest or until you expend a spell slot of first level or higher. Now is until you expend a spell slot to create one. Okay. In the third paragraph, the third sentence has been changed to read it is immune to poison and psychic damage. It says, and all conditions. I guess they remove that. Steel Defender. All right, so the Battlesmith. In the first paragraph, the third sentence has been changed to see this creature's game statistics in the Steel Defender stat block which uses your proficiency bonus in several places. Okay. Second paragraph has been changed to the following. In combat, the Steel Defender shares your initiative count, but it takes its turn immediately after yours. It can move and use its reaction it can move and use its reaction on its own, but the only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action, unless you take a bonus action on your turn to command it to take another action. That action can be one in its stat block or some other action. If you are incapacitated, it can take any action of its choice, not just dodge. And here it says, the only action it takes on its turn is the dodge action, unless you use a bonus action on your turn to command it. Okay, so they basically removed, previously it had said you could only do one of the ones from its stat block, dash, disengage, help, hide, or search. They basically expanded it to cover everything. And then they also added that little bit if it's incapacitated. They added that it perishes if you die. It says the Steel Defender stat block has been replaced with the stat block presented here. Okay, so let's take a look. Okay, hit points originally were equal to Steel Defender's Constitution modifier plus your Intelligence modifier plus 5 times your level in the class. The hit points are now 2 plus your Intelligence modifier plus 5 times your level in the class. So they just, rather than saying its Constitution modifier, they just made it a 2. In D8s, it has a number of hit dice equal to your Artificer level, 14, 12, 14, 4, 10, 6. That's the same. It says Dexterity plus 1 plus Proficiency bonus, Constitution plus 2. So rather than just giving you a static number, they showed that's Proficiency bonus. Same thing with Athletics. It says Athletics plus Proficiency bonus, 2 plus Proficiency bonus, Perception plus 0 plus Proficiency bonus times 2. That seems a little more complicated, but all right. Immune to poison, same condition immunities. Well, and they're basically breaking it down rather than giving you a static number like 14. They're showing it here. They also have removed Might of the Master as an option to just explain it up here where proficiency bonuses are. Still Vigilant. Force Empowered Rend is a D8 plus, it says proficiency bonus force damage. And your spell attack modifier to hit rather than plus 4. Repair is plus proficiency bonus. It was 2d8 plus 2 hit points, and now it is 2d8 plus proficiency bonus hit points. And Deflect Attack. Disadvantage on the attack roll of one creature can see within 5 feet, provided the attack roll isn't against a creature other than the defender. Yeah, so that's all the same. So I think it's better overall, and I guess the concept is to make it slightly cleaner. All right. Then for infusions, we have Homunculus Servant. They removed the 6th level prerequisite, and changed to a gem or crystal worth at least 100 gold. And it now says it did originally say a gem worth at least 100 gold or a dragon shard. So they changed that. Now it can be accessed at level 1 rather than at level 6. In the third paragraph, the second sentence has been changed to read, see this creature's game statistics in the Homunculus Servant stat block, which uses your proficiency bonus in several places. And then the fourth paragraph has been changed. Okay, so they just basically changed it to mimic the same thing rather than just saying this list, they can do any action, and they added that bit, if you're unconscious, it can do any action of its choice. If you die, it vanishes, leaving its heart in its space. And then we have a new stat block here for it, which we'll look at it right here, see what the difference is. Again, similarly, you'll see it here, right? 1 plus your intelligence plus your artificer level. And it has those in D4 hit dice. The stats look exactly the same. Dexterity is 2 plus proficiency bonus. Here's where the skills are broken out. Again, Might of the Master removed in favor of this way proficiency bonus is handled here. Force Strike was plus 4 to hit. It's now your spell attack modifier. And it does a D4 plus your proficiency bonus as opposed to a D4 plus 2. And it looks like the rest of it is the same. Yep. Okay. Replicate magic item. The following sentence has been added to the end of the first paragraph. Alternatively, you can choose the magic item from among the common magic items in the game, not including potions or scrolls. Additionally, the third paragraph has been cut, which says if you have Xanathars, you might choose a common magic item. Okay, that's out. In the replicate items, second level artificer, replicate items, second level artificer table, the arm blade and prosthetic limb have been removed. In the replicable item 6th level, take the wand sheath has been removed. And the replicable items 10th level artificer, the necklace of adaptation has been removed. Or has been added. It requires attunement, it says. Okay, so they added necklace of adaptation. Okay, planes of existence. Exploring the coach. Alright, then they changed prosthetic limb. This item's attunement requirement has... Oh, interesting. Okay, so they did change the stuff for the prosthetic limb. Okay, let's go look. Interesting that they're not replicable items anymore, these arm blades, unless they're common magic items now. Okay, so magic item. Where's the prosthetic limb? Okay, it says, yeah, it was common, so now it says... this item attunement requirement has been removed and both paragraphs of the item's description have been replaced. So all of this replaced with the following. The item replaces a lost limb, a hand, an arm, a foot, a leg, or similar body part. While the prosthetic is attached, it functions identically to the part it replaces. You can detach or reattach it as an action, and it can't be removed against your will. It detaches if you die. Okay. So they just adjusted that. Looks like they changed a little bit about some of the monsters as well. I think that's it. So I guess the arcane propulsion arm is still attunement right up here at the first one. That I'm assuming, because they didn't specify that it isn't, which I guess the only thing that makes the arcane propulsion arm slightly different is this last bit where you can shoot it off as a weapon, dealing a d8 force damage on a hit with a range of 20-60. So yeah, that is the updates to the Sage Advice Compendium. Again, it's just some tweaks we see, some alterations. We saw there was, again, tweaks to the way kind of pets were handled in what we know is coming in Tasha's Cauldron. So they adjusted the way they were handled for the Artificer, which is why we see that. We saw a couple tweaks to the way some abilities were worked. And I think overall, both the Steel Defender and the Homunculus actually end up better off because of their adjustments with the way proficiency bonus is handled. They will end up getting stronger. It'll be easier to understand. So that is that little update for you for the Sage Advice Compendium. There were no other notable adjustments. And again, Tasha's Cauldron will be out on the 17th, where I'll be doing a ton of coverage on that as it comes out. But this is kind of to get these books in line until then. So pretty soon, I'm sure those will be updated on D&D Beyond. And then if you want to play the newest version of the Bladesinger, that'll be an option for you before Tasha's Cauldron is even out officially. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.